Who's getting excited for Thanksgiving? My sweet potato pie recipe has got to be on your table. It is full of flavor, silky smooth, and that blind baked crust is crisp throughout. Hey, you're watching Preppy Kitchen, where I, John Cannell, teach you how to make delicious homemade dishes to share with your family and friends. This sweet potato pie will be ready before you know it, so let's get started. First off, bake those sweet potatoes. Place them on a baking sheet, pierce the tops with a fork, and then bake at 400 degrees for about 40 minutes or until very nice and tender. Now I can start my pie crust. So we're gonna add 2 1/4 cups of all-purpose flour right into the bowl of your food processor. Now let's add in 1/4 cup of granulated sugar, that's 50 grams, as well as half a teaspoon of salt, half a teaspoon or so of cinnamon. Place the top on and just whiz it up. Once it's combined, we can add our cold cubed butter in. 1 cup or 226 grams. Okay, now we're gonna whiz this up. I have about 1/4 cup of ice water in here. I'm gonna drizzle it in as I pulse, and when I see the mixture come up and then go, I know it's ready. Okay, I know my mixture's ready just by looking at it. Time to dump this out. You can bring it together with your hands. Use our pastry mat and just slide it together just a little bit. Turn it around and repeat the process just a couple times. So now you can form it into a disc. You can wrap this in plastic if you're working on your counter, or just wrap it up in your pastry mat. This can go into the freezer for like 15 or 20 minutes. My pie dough chilled, so it's time to unwrap it. I love the spices in here. Okay, what we're gonna do is give us a light dusting of flour on both sides. So yeah, this is really hard still. I might have to give it a couple minutes. A couple minutes later, my pie dough is warm enough to roll now. Look at those specks of butter. I am entranced. I want to roll this to about 1/4 of an inch. It's all rolled out. Let's roll it up onto our rolling pin. Now we're going to transfer it onto our pie dish, push it in and adjust. This pie dish has a huge lip, so I don't really need to cut anything extra than what the pie dish gives me. Do whatever edge you want. I'm just going to pinch mine up. You can leave it like this if you want, or you can do the little thumb finger situation, which I'll be doing for that nice grandma look, which I love. We are gonna be blind baking this pie. I don't know if I mentioned that earlier, but it's a fun process where you bake it at high heat without the filling in to dry the crust out and get it started, because you do not want a soggy pie crust. We're gonna need parchment paper, a little bit of foil, and some pie weights or beans. Today, I'm using beans. And we're gonna bake this at 425 for about 15 minutes. You could pull it out a bit earlier if you see the edge is getting too golden. Afterwards, we'll be baking it even more. My pie crust is out of the oven and cool enough to touch. Look at this, do you see that? I'm so excited. It also smells amazing. Set that aside. My sweet potatoes have also cooled, so now we can get this started. We're going to just cut the tips off. Do you see this? I'll be right back. This is not sharp. Okay, I'm back. That's one of my many pet peeves. Oh, look at that, see? A sharp knife is a joy. Anyways, we're snipping the tips off and cutting down the middle. It's no use having nice knives if you don't sharpen them regularly. Alrighty, there we go. So as you can see, the skin comes right off. We can just cut this into little slices. Sweet potato pie gets a bad rap because if you don't make it properly, it has all these little fibers that get stuck in your teeth. It's just not pleasant. So the solution is to process it up. Continue this process for the rest of your sweet potatoes, and some of the dark bits on your sweet potatoes are gonna be delicious, they're caramelized, but they're gonna mar the color, and you don't want to have kind of like a bleh sweet potato pie. You want it to be a beautiful, golden, sunny, happy color, or at least I do. Okay, last sweet potato. See these fibers? This is what we don't want. We want to get rid of them. To the sweet potatoes, I'm adding 3/4 cup of brown sugar, and you could use light or dark, it really doesn't matter. The brown sugar will give you a nice depth of flavor and some more caramel notes. 1 teaspoon or so of vanilla extract. Now I'm pouring in 2 eggs and 1 yolk. Just add them right in. This mixture is basically complete, but I'm gonna finish it off with some extra flavors. 1/4 teaspoon of ground ginger, 1/4 teaspoon of freshly grated nutmeg, half a teaspoon of cinnamon, in you go. And if you wanted to, you could add some bourbon or rum. I could go up to a 1/4 cup there, up to. Or you could also add in some orange zest. That'll give you a nice kind of like extra depth of flavor, and it's very aromatic. Last thing to add is 1/2 cup or 120 ml of cream. Now for the fun part, we're gonna pulse it up. Okay, this is ready, nice and completely smooth. But while this is whizzing, I reread my own recipe for reference, and you could have, / maybe should have, whizzed up the sweet potatoes before adding in the other ingredients. This will be totally fine though, so don't stress. Now we're gonna pour the filling in and ready for the oven. This can get baked as is, but the top isn't gonna self-level, so give it a little level with your spatula. And if you're me, you're gonna put it on a turntable. My pie's ready for the oven, but I will do one optional step first, and that's adding an egg wash. Take 1 egg and add about 1 tablespoon or so of cream or milk. It could be water as well. And then give it a little mix. Now we can just brush the edge of our pie with the egg wash, and it'll give it a nice golden color. After your egg wash, once again, you're going to cover this with the tenting because it will bake quicker on the edge. And this is ready to go into the oven, 350 for 45 to 50 minutes. You'll see the edge is set, the center is still jiggling, but it'll continue setting as it cools. Into the oven you go. My pie's baked, it cooled down enough to cut, and I'm adventurously showing you what happens on that first cut. Champion! Before I take a bite, if you like this recipe, check out my fall pie playlist, all my favorite cozy pies in one playlist for you. But now it's time for a bite, with some whipped cream too. Did you hear that? It's crisp. So full of flavor. Sweet potatoes are really flavorful to begin with, but when you add in the brown sugar, the spices, the butter, and that crisp butter crust, it is heaven on a plate. I really hope you get a chance to make this recipe, and if you like my videos, hit that like button, subscribe, hit the notification bell, and I'll see you in the next fall pie video.